There are only two things I ever need repeated. An explanation for why my uncle stopped sending me Christmas and birthday checks once I turned 30, and awesome beginner guitar loop. So today we're going to talk about just some cool ways you can integrate a looper pedal into practicing and just sounding better and improving your timing. We are using the Donner Circle looper pedal for this, okay? So they sponsored this video. I'm going to go through some just easy stuff you can do first, and then we'll talk about specific features of this pedal at the end. But the important thing is, no matter what type of looper you're starting with, if you have the choice to do so, I would recommend getting a 2-button looper, okay? One of them starts it, one of them stops it. If you just have a single button looper, doesn't mean you can't do it, but I think it's harder because then you have to start doing kind of like hold and press combinations and stuff like that too. So anyways, the most common problem with starting out looping is kind of just getting your timing right. Like you might be trying to play something and you like start it and it'll sound like this, right? And you know, that definitely doesn't sound good because it's not a perfect loop. So being able to do pretty close to perfect loops is a skill that you have to practice. But a great way to do that is to leave space in between your chords and count with your foot. So we're just going to do something between E minor and A minor, okay? And we're going to stop the tail of the sustain because then it won't bleed into a next loop. For example, if we're going to count like 2 bars of each, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, A minor, 2, 3, 4, A minor, 2, 3, 4. So basically, what that does is, let's do it. So the left switch here is going to start the loop, and then I can go right into the right one to close it and have it play back. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, A minor, 2, 3, 4, A minor, 2, 3, 4, and start it with my foot. Okay, so now when you hear this on a loop, even if it's not perfectly timed, because there's that space between that mute, you can kind of hear that it's good enough, right? So again, you know, if we just stop it right there like that, we have a loop that we can work with. All right, we have 2 chords, E minor, A minor. I think the best thing to do is to use this as a way to practice 2 different positions, okay? We can do them with the easiest thing to do. Maybe let's just run through the minor pentatonic scale that goes with each of those, right? For the A minor, it would be 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. For the E minor, we could do it open, like open 3, open 2, open 2, open 2, open 3, open 3, or at the octave, so 12, 15, 12, 14, 12, 14, 12, 14, 12, 15, 12, 15. And then every time you're on that chord, switch where you play it. Don't even worry about making it super musical. This is just kind of like an intro to get your timing right, practice 2 kind of different things at once. You're doing like your chord thing, then you're kind of doing like a scale run. So there's an E, what was that, E minor? A minor. E. A minor. Now, since these are both in the same key, you can do these notes over the other chords. So if you need a little bit of extra time to stay on one position, it'll still sound fine over the next chord. Like for example, let's just do the whole thing in the A minor shape. So it's not about, you know, you can use this as an opportunity to maybe target chord tones, which eventually we can get into if you want to see more looper pedal videos like this. But I think at first it's really good to just kind of differentiate between, all right, there's the E minor chord and there's the A minor chord. Maybe while I can hear that E minor chord looping for a couple bars, I could do something in the E minor. While I hear the A minor chord, I can do something in A minor. I think a more musical way to do it might be to start adding arpeggios over those spots. So we would need to learn an arpeggio shape for each of those things. Let's start out with, let's do the E minor chord, which is just an E, a G, and a B note on like the 7th fret of the A string, right? So there's your E, and then we can go 3 frets higher, 7 to 10 to 9 on the D string like that. That's an E minor chord. And that same thing is going to be true for an A minor chord. Okay, if we were just to play those one note at a time. So if we start with that E, octave higher. A. Okay, so we have that one simple loop that we started with. Now we're kind of doing really easy arpeggio runs around them. Again, if you want to do like an octave for something like that, like if we start on the A string, 7A, 10A to 9D, that's an E minor, we just go straight down. 9G, 3 frets higher again, 12G, and then straight down to 12B. Okay, so that's E minor's run. The A minor one is easy because it's the exact same shape, but just starting on the 7th fret on the D string, right? So it's a good way to maybe familiarize yourself with different like arpeggio shapes while you're doing this, and maybe just kind of run them together like that. Again, you don't have to make it that complicated even if you don't want to. Really, it's more about the timing, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to hold this second button here, and that's going to erase the loop. Okay, so now we have another clear loop again. And we're going to do something that requires more of a steady hand, a strumming hand, right? We'll just do power chords right now. So I'm just going to do like an A power chord. And we're going to do like a descending thing from like A to G to F. Doesn't have to be major or minor or anything like that, but it's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and G and 2 and 3 and 4 and F and 2 and 3 and 4 and G and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So your strumming hand, whatever hand that is, we're going to practice kind of just keeping it going. All right? So we can just kind of punch in while you're doing that. So in fact, one thing that I like to do whenever I'm looping something, even if it's more complicated, is to play around the first time through and engage the loop the second time through, because then you're already kind of in the middle of whatever it is you're playing. So you're pretty much assured to get a cleaner loop if you take something out of the middle, other than just when you're starting. Because at first starting, it's like you might change tempo like when you first start as compared to where you're going to end up. So for example, if we just, again, this is going to be the start loop on the left. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and F and 2 and 3 and 4 and G. And then I'm going to engage the loop. Alright, I'm going to focus on my timing. Again, my right foot is still kind of bouncing. And then that should capture a pretty good loop, right? Because I just took it from the middle. And again, whatever you want to play on top of that, all that stuff is from tried and true A minor pentatonic. That's another great thing that just sounds good, is double stops where you play 2 notes at the same time from that same shape. One thing I really like is, let's just focus on maybe taking smaller parts of it. So 5, 7, 5, 7. Try to maybe add something. Sounds pretty cool. And again, that's just 4 notes from the middle of that scale that comes from an A. Right? I think once you can kind of find a way to capture what you're playing, listen back to it, right? Which is again a great benefit of like having a looper pedal. You can really start to diagnose your own playing, right? if you're first starting out and you hear yourself maybe soloing stuff like through a scale, it might not sound super great. It's like, wow, does it really sound like that? It gives you the opportunity to really focus on how you're making the notes sound as compared to just playing the notes, which I think is super important. Like, that's why when you just kind of, whittle it down to something you want to work on, just these 4 notes in the middle of this pentatonic scale, you can do cool stuff like that vibrato, right? Getting those slides. Those pull-offs. With like a bend to try to make sure that bend is in tune. So again, it really lets you kind of open up to simplify things just so you can kind of really listen to yourself. Go over and do that kind of thing, right? So again, that's a good way of keeping your picking hand or fingers or however you're choosing to play this guitar, keeping it steady, right? Because you'll notice in a loop if you're not steady. Again, an example of, let's see, erase that loop again. Let's do something unsteady. Like I'm nervous, I'm like, okay. You can hear it back and it's like, oh geez. In the moment, maybe I didn't think it was that bad, but once you kind of hear it, it's like, oh, I found out what I was doing wrong. I can diagnose what it is and what I'm going to do to correct it. Okay, so we're going to erase that. Now, one cool thing about this pedal in particular is it comes with a bunch of backing tracks. So if you notice on the left side, these are going to be the looper controls. If you click this right button, it goes into like your backing tracks and stuff. So see right now it has a jazz 4/4. This is the 3rd jazz track. It's like they have different genres and you can kind of cycle through and kind of see which ones you like. And you can just play this. Right? I have it turned down. You can always turn the volume up. But I kind of feel like with the guitar, I kind of keep the volume low on this one. So you can actually track to this. Alright, so let's say I like this sound. Let me stop it. This little button in the middle is going to sync up whatever it is you're looping. So when you engage the looper pedal again, it'll start off with like a count in that will give you that jazz type thing to loop, right? So, let me get this straight. There's a million of these like different tracks on here, and again, for like around $100, this looper pedal is great because of all the cool different like options. Even some of the great thing about like these tracks is some of them get just kind of wild, like a fusion track. Man, I swear, like a lot of these tracks you can just have a great time. So the hip hop ones especially. If for nothing else, just as having like a hip hop beat generator to freestyle rap over, it's definitely worth like the $100 around ish. I've seen it for like $103 and stuff like that. And also it's stereo, so you can get a stereo out. A lot of cool functionality on it. So, anyways, thank you, Donner, for sponsoring this video. I will link you to a description with their website. Check out this looper pedal if you're interested. And any other questions for looper pedals, I would love to hear them in the comment section because I can always kind of make more videos depending on where your skill level's at. If you want something maybe like, if you're into exercises, got a million looper pedal exercises if you're into it, just let me know if that's something that you'd be interested in doing. But until then, remember, just leave some space and then stop it. Again, that's a really, I wish I would have started doing that because I really hurt my own ears making just kind of like imperfect loops all the time back in the day. And I think if I would have just like left some space open, it would have been a much more easy way for me to kind of like perfect my rhythm. So anyways, I hope you liked the video. If you have any questions or comments, hit me up in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.